Hello, everyone. Dr. Guillaume Duluth here. There's the Y event that I'm working on. It's going to happen in Los Angeles this year. So it's going to be the third year that I'm doing the Y event for the International Day of Courage and Personal Responsibility. And this year, it's going to happen in LA. Super excited. It's going to be in English. Super excited about it. Of course, anyone can attend. It's online, and there's going to be translation in all kinds of languages. So it's really cheap, it's very accessible, and the goal is to talk about psychological strategies to move on in life, to go to the next chapter of your life, to overcome tough phases, to make sure to not reproduce patterns, negative patterns, bad behaviors, and it's not easy to do because patterns they're part of the patterns are non-conscious. So even though you don't have a conscious intention to reproduce bad behaviors or bad thoughts, they kind of sneak in your life. So we have to be aware of how it works, and we have to be aware on how to break them and move on, go towards goals, choose your goals, have proper strategies how to manage negative emotions, for example, anxiety. So we're going to talk about that this year. We're going to talk about personality traits also, because they're very powerful. They're very well documented, and you can manage your personality traits. There are 5 personality traits, and we're going to talk about that. I'm not going to be alone this year. Last year, there was Anthony Cavana. There was with me on stage the astronaut, Chris Hadfield, the athlete, tennis player, Serena Williams. And this year, Mario Lopez will be the MC. And there's going to be Valentine Thomas, which is a world record spear fisher woman, and she's absolutely amazing. She's very unique. She has she has a unique life path. And there's going to be Dr. Jane Goodall, which is, of course, an icon. And stay there for Y Event this year. And leading to that, I wanted to already talk about choices, talk about overcoming challenges, and I wanted to do some interviews with inspiring people that work hard, people that you might see on social media, you can see in media, and people that look like they're always positive. It always works well. It looks easy. And the goal of these interviews is to go explore another angle of subjects and part of their lives that they're not going to talk about necessarily all the time, but we're going to try to understand where these people are coming from. And today I have the great honor to speak with Pantelis, who is a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. He has lots of podcasts, and his following keeps growing. He's a funny guy. I had the opportunity, sorry, to be at his podcast 2 times, and this is a guy that is always positive. He's always goal-oriented. He can talk about light subjects, and he can talk about very serious subjects also. And I wanted to know him more. I would like you guys to know him more, and we're going to talk to him today. So hello, Pantelis.
Guillaume, hello.
So happy to meet you again. So happy that you accepted my invitation.
I'm very happy to be here, and we look nice. We both look nice on camera. With our hair tied up, look at us.
And congrats for your new studio, which is amazing. It looks like a spaceship. It's really cool.
I'm in here. I'm exploring the universe. It's nice.
Cool. So thanks for accepting this invitation, which is a bit unusual. We're going to talk about you, only you, how you think, where you grew up, where you're coming from, and understand how you think. Because from the perception that I have from you, you're a tall, strong guy, positive, open-minded. You seem kind of indestructible. It's like you it's impossible for you to be negative or to have negative emotions. You seem kind of indestructible. And of
I'm also
course,
very goofy. You forgot to mention I'm goofy.
You're very goofy, and you're fast. You always have a quick answer. You're quick on your feet, and that's something I like about you very much. And I would like to know the other side of you, where you grew up, where you're coming from. How did you build the man that you are today? So if you're open to that, let's start where you're coming from, where you grew up, what's your origin, if you like.
So I grew up in Montreal. I was born in Montreal at the Jewish General Hospital on Côte des
Yeah.
Neiges, on the fifth floor, from what I know.
Okay.
Um, and
Great
when
flow.
I know enough details of when I was born. Also, every baby was sick when I was born on the whole floor, except
Okay.
for me. So that's
Really?
interesting. Yeah, fun fact. Yeah, they were mentioning it to my mom. They all got sick, and then there's just one that's not sick, and it turned out it was me. I was just sitting there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
So it's
pretty
a
funny.
strong start.
It was a strong start. Yeah. Then my first home when I was young, because I grew up in Park X, but before
Yeah.
that, it was near downtown in the Portuguese area. It was near Saint Dominic and Pine area. It was around
Okay.
there. There used to be a
Okay.
building there that I used to live in when I was young. I have a lot of memories from there. My parents were both Greek.
Yeah.
My father from the island of Crete, and my mother from the north of Greece in Epirus.
Okay.
So full Greek.
Yeah.
Went to Greek school, learned all three languages: English, French, and Greek. I'm fluent. I write and read in all three of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Then my parents got divorced when I was young. When I was just before I was 5 years old. So I grew up with my mom and my older sister
Okay.
for until I was 18.
Yeah.
Or actually, my sister left a bit before my sister left when I was about 13, 14. She was already an adult and she moved to Greece at the time.
Okay.
So my high school years, it's funny, I were two kids. And then in high school, I became a single child, like an only child, which is a weird dynamic because normally you have someone, you have your older sibling and you get
Yeah.
used to it. And then in high school, I remember thinking about that in high school, thinking like, oh, it's weird being an only child. So
Why do you say the only child? Because you didn't see your sister?
yeah,
What
I
do you
didn't
mean?
see because then I was alone, and my mom was working, so it was mostly me. So when you used to have when you have an older sibling or
Yeah.
someone to go to, it's way different. Like if ever I had an issue or a question, I had that older sibling, I had my sister to go to, and then it changed, and I was in high school where I had the most questions, where the world was changing, and I
Yeah.
had to kind of discover things myself, which I think made me tougher too in the long run.
Okay.
No one's gonna hold your hand anymore, type of thing. So I do remember
Yeah.
that growing up, that was I found that like a weird change for me in the beginning. But
And
yeah,
why?
that's
How did your parents move out of Greece? What motivated them, and what happened in this transition for them?
so both were different. My father, from what I understand, it was more economic, like 100% economic. It was at the time, Canada, Germany, all these countries were taking in a lot of Greeks and Italians because
Okay.
they needed the physical labor. They needed people to work, to open businesses. Canada started booming. So I
Yeah.
think my father first went to Germany, and then from Germany he went to Canada. It was different. My mother went 17 years old. They shipped her off to Canada to get married, and in Alberta to get married and to start
Yeah.
life here in Canada. So for her, it was her telling me the stories of coming here, not speaking any of the languages, and just being kind of thrown into it.
Yeah.
She has a way more interesting story than I do. Her young life, and she came in. Right now, she's 75,
Yeah.
and she came when she was 17.
Okay.
So imagine, now her whole life is here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your parents met in Greece or in Canada?
No, they met in Toronto years after my mom had come here. Yeah, they met in
Oh.
Toronto, and yeah,
Okay.
I should have technically been born in Toronto, but then they decided to move to Montreal, and that's where I ended up getting born. But they liked it in Toronto. They moved here
Okay.
because my other family, my father had his brothers here, and they were opening up
Yeah.
businesses, so they said it's better we're there. But
Okay.
I was one decision away from maybe not even being a Montrealer.
Ah.
Yeah.
And how was it at home with your when you grew up with your parents? What was the atmosphere? What was
I
it like growing up?
I was too young to remember when they were both together a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
But the reason why they got divorced, my father wasn't there too much, and it wasn't like a perfect family type of
And
situation.
yeah.
So I always say that for me it was better growing up just with my mom. A lot of people wouldn't want that,
Yeah.
But for me, it was better because my mother was more. She was very smart. She worked a lot. She was like a boss lady. You know, she always had her shit together.
Yeah.
So I had a good role model in that sense growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas I don't think if I had a dad who wasn't there, it would have
Hmm.
been good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you were living with your mom and your older sister. Is that it?
Yeah, my older sister. I'm the youngest, so
Okay.
my sister's younger. My sister's older than me by 5 years.
Okay.
So we grew up together. Then when she was 18, I was 13. She
Yeah.
decided, oh, I'm gonna move to Greece. You know, Greeks love Greece. So she
Yeah.
moved to Greece, and
Okay.
she stayed there for a while. She got married. She had two kids, and then a few years later, after the two kids, they all moved back here. And that's why one of my nephews is he's an adult now, so he's producing my podcast.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. What kind of how would you describe yourself as a kid? How what were you like, for example, at school, personality wise, interest wise, energy wise?
I thought I was more of a troublemaker when I was young. That's how I saw myself. But then when I read like report cards and I talk to adults at the time, and they're
Yeah.
always saying, "Well, he was always laughing, like he was just having a good time." Every time people were tense and there was like a situation, he's always there, ready to joke around. Even young in high school, I could remember that. But when I was younger, I always thought that it was I was more problematic. But it was
Hmm.
always like I'd get into trouble. I would think it was trouble, you know, because I was young. But it
Yeah.
was they would always be like, "Ah, it's Pantelis, you know, he's gonna find a way to make this funny." And I would just do things that I thought were funny, or I would just say things at the time where everyone is tense, and just to break
Okay.
that tension.
Yeah.
So I think I had that gift from a young age. I just didn't
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah. Okay. So can we agree that you had a tendency, natural tendency to be very extroverted?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. But at the same
Extroverted.
time, introverted because I would write a lot for myself, and I wouldn't show anyone.
You were writing.
Mm, a lot, and I didn't tell. I only found out that I could write in high school because I had an enriched English class I was taking with a very good teacher. She was one of the best teachers I ever had. Ms. Vula was her name. By coincidence, she was Greek, which didn't matter. She was way harder on the Greeks because she didn't want to show favoritism, so she was always harder
Yeah.
on the Greeks. She did the
Yeah.
opposite. And I remember I was kind of like neglecting, you know, my studies, and you know, I was getting into trouble in high school, and we had to write a report on what you think the future would look like. And the winner, they were going to put it in the newspaper, the Montreal Gazette at the time. And she came up to me after one class and she said, "Hey, do you have your rough copy of what you wrote? Because it's very good. I think it. I think this is the one that should go into the newspaper." And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, can you give me your rough copy?" And I go, I don't know what that is." And she's like, "Well, you're brouillon. You wrote it, and then you." I go, "No, I just wrote this by hand and I gave it to you." And she's like, "What?" She goes, "You didn't have a rough copy? You just wrote that?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Did you know that you can write?" I was like, I could read and write. She's like, "No, no, you can write. Like you wrote it. Like it's like a movie. Like I could see. Like you're an actual writer. You didn't know that?" And then as soon as she said that, she started to motivate me. She would give me books. I would read books. I read all the great American authors. I really loved stuff like the Chocolate Wars, White Fang. I got into all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's because of her that I started being confident and I started writing scripts because she's the first one to realize. She's like, "You didn't know?" And I was like, "No, I was just writing for myself. I didn't realize that it sounds so good to other people when they read it." So
How
she
old were you?
played a big role.
How old were you?
I was under 15, so it must have been around either 12 or 13 years old.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
were uh when you say you were getting into trouble, it's
Yeah.
not because did you have problem with authority, or it's just you had too much fun, and when
No,
you had too much fun, it's just like, oh, you were getting into trouble because of the fun that you're having. It's different personality types.
yeah, so I had both. Like I didn't like authority. I didn't like people telling me what to do ever, but
Okay.
I would accommodate if it was reasonable. I just didn't
Yeah.
like it when it was unreasonable. But also my
Yes.
friends at the time we were hanging out, you know, we'd get into fights with people and it wasn't the best school for that. There was a lot of danger. One time a guy was trying to shoot me. So he brought a gun to school and I only found out a year later. Like no one, the school didn't tell me. The school apparently expelled him. And then the year later, I met his girlfriend at the time she had, and she was telling me like, "Did you know that that guy wanted to kill you?" And I was like, "No, I always knew he didn't like me." You know, he kept. She's like, "No, no, he had brought a gun in his backpack and he was showing people in arts class. He goes, I'm going to kill the big Greek." And then someone heard it, saw it, got scared, told the teacher. The teacher told the principal. They called the cops, but no one thought it would be smart to tell me.
And you
So they
you
never
you
warned me.
just learned, you just knew about that years later.
A year later, I was still in the same school, and the crazy thing is, he would come around the school, like he would go across the street and call me, like be like, "Hey, come across here. I want to fight with you." And I'd be like, "Ah, leave me alone." I just like make fun of him, and they could have warned me. Is what I'm saying. The school could have definitely warned me that this guy was planning on killing me.
This is a bit frightening, It's
Yeah, it's
frightening.
funny now. At
But
the time, it was a little, but it's been so long that now it's just a funny story in my head. Hmm.
And were you the kind of guy that everybody liked, or you had like 50% don't like you, 50% of people really like you? Were you divisive,
I
socially
thought,
speaking, at the
like,
time?
this is what's weird about perception. I thought
Yeah.
I was divisive, and then
Yeah.
when I meet people from high school, it was the other way around. They're like, "No, everyone, just some people were scared to get into argument with you because I always knew what to say. Like I always had
Mhm.
the joke ready and all that. But no, it
Yeah.
was pretty. I had become at one point kind of like the anti-bully towards the end, like because I was big, because I was strong. If there was
Yeah.
like someone that was being unfair, I don't like injustice. I got that from my mom. Like if I
Yeah.
notice injustice, I can't let it sit. I'm gonna get involved, which is a terrible public trait because you're going to get into trouble for no reason. But I've tried many times. I've tried to be like, okay, it's none of your business, but I can't. If I see something, I'm going to have to go address it. And
Really?
yeah, it's
So you're
good on
sensitive.
paper,
You're
but not
sensitive.
practical.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It's good on paper. It sounds good on paper, like, oh, that's how
Yeah.
everyone should be. But practicality, it gets me into trouble. Yeah.
So you didn't like injustice. You were
No,
sensitive to injustice. It really triggers something. Still today?
still today, big time. Yeah, I still do it, and people know me, and like I still do it. Like I should stay out of like something that's happening in the street, and I'll still get involved, and I have no business doing so. Yeah.
And did you fight when you were young?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. Yeah.
You got into fight, you didn't care. It's like, no, I stand my ground, and you
I
you
stand
were
my
you were
ground. Yeah, sometimes when I shouldn't, sometimes when it was very dangerous, and I'm lucky to have not. I'm lucky to be alive right now. But you, at the time, you don't see it. You only see it in retrospect. You notice, like, oh my god, those were like really dangerous people. There were people who have either they're in jail now or they've
yeah.
committed crimes that you don't want to be part of. But when you're young, you're stupid. You don't see. You don't look ahead. You just look at the moment. And you're
Yeah.
like, no, right now I'll fight this guy.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
lot of my friends we've spoken about on many occasions, like how lucky we are. Like we've talked about old times, and we
Yeah.
go, God, we're really lucky. We got away with a lot. Like there was
Uh-huh.
people that should have killed us. Like we, yeah.
And would you describe yourself, even at that age, of some kind of a, having kind of a natural leadership?
I don't know if it was. I led more later on in life. I got into positions of leadership, and I would lead later on. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. I don't remember if in high school I led. I had some type of influence. Like people would ask me, "What do you think?" And I would, but I didn't have the type of leadership that I gained later that started to become natural in my work life and then in my
Yeah.
surroundings. I guess at that time it was kind of like instinctual and no one
Yeah.
talked about it, but it would
Yeah.
happen a lot. But not like
Yeah.
later on where I knew, okay, they're depending on me. I have to lead this team. I have to do this. It wasn't the same level.
Hmm. Hmm. And for example, at school, how was it? What kind of behavior were you displaying in a classroom? Were you the loudest, the funniest? Did the teacher like you, or it was a problem with the
No,
teacher? How were you in a classroom?
I was definitely the funniest. I'll go on record to say that. I was definitely the
Yeah.
funniest, but the teachers liked me. I wasn't disruptive.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
wasn't funniest like you see in the movies where someone's like the teacher's trying to teach and someone's yelling out
Yeah.
"dick." Like I wouldn't do that. It was it was just natural, and then the teacher would say something, and there was a perfect line, so I'd say it, and then they'd laugh, and it would continue. But I'd be part of the class. I wasn't a delinquent to that level. Yeah.
Okay, so you have this extroversion, you have this kind of natural leadership, you have the skills and the fun to make people laugh, but you also have the respect of what is right and what is wrong at the same time. There is kind of a
A big dichotomy.
consciousness of the structure, if I could say like that.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
you said it correctly.
Okay. Okay. And okay, your kind of personality, okay, normally these kind of people, they are lower on one of the personality trait that is called neuroticism, one of the big five personality traits. So were you always happy when you were young? Was life easy? You're kind of, nothing negative can really affect you, or you had, your secret moments or downtime? Was that more of a facade? How did you manage like tough times, or did you have tough times when
I
you
had
were
very tough times. Yeah, life was not easy. Life was very, very hard for me when I was young. Like,
okay?
like it was hard in the sense that like we didn't have any money. We were very poor. So there was that. There was economic hardships, but my mom always found a way to make it work. That's why I always like I have such respect for her and like a single moms to her level. Like she
Yeah,
worked 2 jobs if she needed to do 3. She was always there doing that stuff.
yeah,
It wasn't the best, like especially my high school at the time, and the old neighborhood and all that. It wasn't the best conditions, but the thing is, because all the kids were kind of in similar situations,
yeah,
everything was funny to us. Like for me, comedy was huge. I keep telling people the people I grew up with, like all my Park X. I grew up in a neighborhood called Park X in Montreal. All the
yeah,
Park Xers, our big thing that we had, our big tool was comedy. They were all and still are some of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. The only difference is that I used it for stand up and for comedy writing. But there's people that I find even funnier than me that still make me crack up to this day. They're just sharp people. They have the right line at the right time. They just didn't have the artistic endeavor. They had no interest in
yeah,
writing or creating because it's a lot of work. But they're
yeah,
so funny, and that was a tool. And I think back now, part of it might have been because we probably noticed sometimes that, oh yeah, it's not the worst life. Obviously, we're not in the slums. We have like nice places we live in, but yeah, in terms of we don't have everything. We're kind of like the poor kids in the city, especially
mhm,
considering that TMR, town of Mont Royal, one of the richest, is right in front of us, and there's a big fence
yeah,
separating the two, and you can see the difference of the neighborhoods.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
guess mentally, comedy was kind of like a thing that we would all go to. We'd make fun of it. Like no one's ever attacked me verbally worse than the people that are supposed to love me. Like the funniest and the best, hardest roasts have come from my friends because we know each other so well. Um, so we had that, but yeah, I had sad times. I even when I got older, like because I have 3 older sisters, but I lost one of them. She passed away to breast cancer, and that
okay,
affected me. That happened about a year before I started doing stand up,
yeah,
and that affected me a lot. That really, I think that was one of the moments that had the emotional because I would never lose myself. I'm always like I don't really drink. I'm always sober. I like
yeah,
to have a
yeah,
clear mind.
yeah,
And I remember little things about her funeral in Greece. No, I was screaming. Like I was at the and I wouldn't like we have open caskets, the Greeks, and I remember I was over it and my tears were just falling on her face and I wouldn't leave. Like it was like I was screaming like for her to get up. Like I thought because I wanted her to wake up, she's gonna wake up type of thing. Like because people would always come to me if when they needed something and I would always be able to help them. And now I was in a situation where there's nothing I could do. It was the first situation I found myself in. There's nothing I can't change anything. This is what it is, and it really really it was the worst I've ever cried. I think it was it was awful. Yeah.
when was that in your life?
This was in about before 2012. I'm trying to remember when, but it was over 13 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so that this is one of the one of the most helpless moments that you've ever been to.
Yeah, there was nothing I could do. There was nothing.
Yeah,
I couldn't negotiate. I couldn't scream. I couldn't. There was nothing. It was done.
how did you get out of this phase?
I
How
think
was it?
it was just time and distance too, because I came back to Montreal and the rest of the family was in Greece. Work, but it took it like it's never. When you lose someone that's close to you, you never really get over it. You just learn to live with it, and that's what I tell people now. I have people close to me who end up losing people close to them, and I explain to them how normal it is that you're gonna have these random. You could be 5 years later, you're happy, and then one day you just think about it and you start crying. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your body. Everyone kind of adjusts to loss differently. Some
Yeah,
people it's rage, some people it's silence, but there's no good or bad way. It's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
that's what I learned in going through it myself. So when I have friends that go through it, they'll ask me, they're like, I don't know, I lost my brother. What do I do? And I keep telling them it's 100% normal. You're going to have these days where you're going to be like, wow, I feel bad because I feel like I don't feel bad. But it's like, just
yeah,
wait. It's going to
yeah,
come. And then it just hits you. It is
yeah,
what it is. But that really, That one I could tell you was a moment that really affected me.
Hmm.
And so that I don't skip too far ahead, because I think it's important to mention you need good role models. And I was lucky when I was young. I had a good male role model in my life. There was next to my house. There's a sports center, a complex, a gym, and
Yeah.
there's a guy who became still to this day one of the like the best people in my life. His name is Harry. Harry's older. Harry's a, I was a kid. He was an adult man with a life and a family.
Yeah.
But Harry was the best role model for me. He's the one who really, as a man, I got like stuff from a man. I got a lot of mannerisms from him too. He would teach me when I'd go there, like discipline. Like, no, that's not what a man would do. That's, this is what you have to. You have to take care of people. You have to protect people. You can't be a bully. You can't. I learned all that from him. There was a lot of stuff that I feel like you need a good male and a good female figure, and I
Yeah.
got the male stuff from him. I got all the best positive stuff and how to avoid conflict. Because
Yeah.
the time in high school when I was fighting a lot, and he'd be like, you don't really need to, especially you know how to speak. You're not dumb. You could avoid conflict. Like you don't have to. So he taught me conflict resolution. He taught me a lot about just working hard, just putting your head down. And if people say negative things about you, if people don't believe in you, the way you prove it to them is with success. It's
Yeah.
not by arguing. It's just you do your own thing, you get successful, and that's how you prove your point. You don't need to do anything bad to them. Just be happy and do your own stuff. And that stayed with me. So
Okay.
to this day, even now, when someone, let's say, you're not going to make, or even podcasting, when I started podcasting, there was a lot of like, what are you doing? It's internet radio. This isn't a real thing, because I
Yeah.
started in
Yeah.
2010. So instead of arguing, I just said, oh, now you guys screwed up, because now I have to make it. Now I have to make it to prove my point. So I got
Yeah.
that from him. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite important. Okay, I've mentioned that in the intro. Every year, I do this fundraising called the Why event, and or I'm trying to talk about psychology of overcoming hard stuff and choosing the good pathway. And this is what you're talking about. Okay, you're talking about being careful on not to do certain things and being careful to do more of certain things. But what you're saying is that, yeah, but Harry had to tell me. Like without
Yeah.
Harry, okay, so let's talk about that. So you grew up. Can we say that you grew up without the presence of a father? Can we say
Yeah,
that?
that's true. That's true, because he was not in the country. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so let's say that. So at what? How did you meet Harry? How did you
So,
meet Harry? And what's this relation? Because you're talking about really big influence like this, and most
yeah,
people
yeah.
do not have this role model. Okay,
No, they
people
don't.
are
That's
free. Remember, we're free. Everybody's free. I am free to be myself. It's limitless. It's awesome. And everyone is depressed. Everyone is anxious. Everyone is on their cell phone. So
yeah,
we need to talk about this role model and someone who explained to you, like, be careful. And also there's so many right things, like Harry said, hey, you're good at this, use this. Hey,
yeah.
you're good at this, use this. So it's another things. Most people do not have clear talents. It's not because they don't have talents, it's because
No,
they're
no.
not really aware of it. They don't know how to use it. They don't have goals. They don't have discipline. They don't have any reasons to be disciplined. So explain to me this structure that Harry has given you.
Yeah. So essentially, I had from the home from my mom. I had like the good and bad. I had all that. Like because of her, I didn't want to disappoint her, and I knew I stayed away from drugs. I stayed away from alcohol. I didn't want to like commit crimes because I didn't want to disappoint her, and I knew I had the foundation from her of what's good and bad. You need that in a home.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to give a kid, from what I saw in my experience, because I have friends that I grew up with that were not given that at home,
Yeah.
and to this day they're garbage people. Like I'm gonna say, they know it. Some of them, they're just garbage people that you don't want around, because they
Yeah.
never got the foundation of what truly is good. And so I already had that foundation. But with Harry, what happened? Because he was a man, he was a guy like me. I'm a guy, and he
Yeah.
lived. He was older, so he had already lived. So he had already been through. He knows what it's like to be a guy in high school, to meet a girl. He knows all that stuff. So it's easier to go to him. And he was a guy who he was very good because he worked. He still, that's what he does in early childhood education, and
Oh,
a lot of sports. Yeah, he's very patient,
okay.
and but he's patient, but he's strict. He won't accept like nonsense. I'll let you know. So I know that a lot of people my age, we're talking about probably over 100, have positive stories about Harry, like had changed them in a certain point. Like this guy's like been a pinnacle in the community. Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
get the respect he deserves. I feel like this guy shot a statue, like just such a good, because he gave up. He gave up his like everything else. He was there for so many other people. For me, for example, for other people that I know my age. And what he gave me was more like I had questions like, well, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? If this guy disrespected me, I'm supposed to fight him. He's like, no, that's what an idiot would do. And he would give you examples like, that's not, what is that going to change? So you're going to get hurt. And then what's going to happen? Are you going to go to jail? Where is that going to get you in the long term? That's not, you got to learn to take that stuff, take it in. You have other talents. You have other stuff that you should be doing. And then I would write stuff and then I would bring it to him. I'd be like, what do you think of this? And then he'd read it and be like, I like this. Why don't you change this? Did you think about exploring this? And then he would get me into sports law. I started playing hockey. I started playing basketball because he's like, just if you have any rage, you're a young adolescent, take it out, just play sports, get it out exercise-wise. Exercise is way healthier. So I got all these little patterns that I took from him of how to just stay calm a bit in a situation. So now I'm even if I'm playing a sport or sometimes I've gotten the opportunity. I've been very lucky. Even this year, I got to perform at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in front of 10 or 12,000 people at that big outdoor stage 4 nights in a row. I don't have it. I'm calm. I go out there. I'm going to do my job. It doesn't matter how many people. Same thing at the Bell Center when Mike had done the Suzukut live and I went on stage. Yep. I didn't have oh no, what am I going to do? Everyone could be going crazy. I'm very calm. I'm calm in the storm. I'm looking around. But I got all those. It's funny. I got all those skills. They were taught to me by Harry at the time, and it was more sports related. When he's like, no, you got to stay calm because everyone else can be going crazy. You just focus on what you need to do because you panicking isn't going to help, and all that. It took years, but now it's in me. So same thing in life situations. That's why sometimes I'll notice something and there's an injustice, there's a crime, a homeless guy is trying to hit someone or something's happening. Yeah. I won't be, I'll sit, I'll look at the situation, I'll look around, I'll be like, okay, what's the danger points? Is he alone? What's happening? Because I learned to stay calm because it's skills that he taught me, and they're very important. They help me in life. They help me in my career.
Okay, so, well, a lot of adults have a lot to teach, but it doesn't mean that they will have credibility. Some people, it's like you cannot, even if you want to help a teenager, it doesn't mean that they will listen to you. So how did you manage to create the relationship with Harry? How did you two meet? And why did you say, okay, I can listen to this guy? Why him? And why would you listen that much to this person?
So Harry was, he was you could even say it. You know how some people, they're just kind of like not cool? Harry was a cool dude. Harry was like an actual cool dude. Like people wanted to be like him. He was a tall guy. He was a strong guy. He was taller than me. He lived a lot of adventures. He knew a lot. Like it's not just like some old teacher that doesn't know what they're talking about is talking to you. Yeah. It was like a cool dude who you'd want to be friends with or you want to be like. Okay. Telling you the truth. And that helps, and also he never did anything malicious. Do you know what I mean? Like he never had malicious intent, like, oh, let me say this. So it was always just calm. Everything was calm. He would take his time to tell you. He would never scream. It was always calm and it would be to the point. And then he would let you think about it. And sometimes it was just that. Sometimes I would say something to him and I wasn't sure if it was wrong or not, just if my decision. And then he would look and think about it and then kind of make me think about it. Tom's like, okay, well, what do you think for real? Like, just think about it for a second. And then I'd have a chance to think about it. And then I'd be like, man, you're right. It's not, he's like, well, I didn't say anything. He goes, you just figure it out yourself. Just give yourself time to think. That wasn't good, And so it was his calmness, his coolness. And he was very good verbally. He was very good too. He spoke well. He spoke properly. And all that stuff adds credibility, especially to a child. Yeah. You don't want someone just saying stuff they don't know about. Yeah. Like in my day, I would never go to a nightclub or whatever. He knows everything. He's been to nightclubs. He's dated girls. He's got into fights. He plays sports. So to hear it from someone that went through it and to tell you, no, you don't need this. You don't need that, dude. It helps so much. And someone that will call you out on your bullshit, you need to, and I learned that too, and I do it to my nephews as well. If I think it's serious, well, I nip it in the bud right away. I don't play around. I'll go, come here, we need to talk. And I don't talk at them. I make sure they're understanding. It's not about yelling. It's about actually just speaking. Okay, so this and this is why this is wrong, because this is what it leads to. This is where it goes to. I've seen it. I know it. And I've noticed with my nephews, like I've had serious talks with them and not repeatedly. They learn from the first time because I sit and I'll make sure they understand and I'll give them concrete examples. And since they're not dumb too, it helps. they're like, okay, I get it. And they'll understand. They won't be like, well, why? Well, because I explain everything. I go, this is why. And it's because I care. I'm just telling you how it is. And this is my idea. This is what I went through. This is a bad decision I made.
Yeah.
I want, like, especially for my nephews, I like them a lot. And they're good dude. They're good boys. I really want them to get a bit of a head start. So all the mistakes I made, I want them to learn from my mistake. You don't have to make it. Trust me, I made it. This is what happens. You don't need to put your hand in the fire. I'm telling you, it will burn. It happened to me. So that's one negative experience that you know is real, but you don't have to suffer through. Just learn from me. So I do a lot of that because I feel like Harry did a lot of that for me, and my mother too. My mother made me avoid a lot of pitfalls because she went through so much, and she would explain certain things to me, and I'd be like, you know what? Okay, I don't have to try that out. I know where that leads. Thank you for telling me. And so I try to, I basically, I want to be the guy that I wish I had additionally, like let's say another Harry or something, that I want to be that to other people if I can.
Yeah. Yeah. And uh, with Harry, were you, how was it functioning? You were calling him like, hey, I need to talk to you, or you had like
I go see him. I knew
team
where he
meetings?
works. He works at the gym at the sports center. I'd show up. I know where he was. I'd show up and just bombard his life. I'd show up like, okay, this is what's happening. This is.
But it was coming from you, right? You were going to him.
Yeah, I was going to him. Yeah, and the door was always open. Whatever I needed, Harry was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, how did you start? What did you first start working in? You were in high school, and after how did you pursue either your study, or how did you start to work? What was your life path?
Oh, it's so weird. You want to get into this? It's so weird. It doesn't.
That's cool.
If you look at it from a distance, you're like, how did these puzzle pieces get together? So when I was in high school, I did a bit of. I remember my first job, but I was like 12 or 13. I was a dishwasher, just for a bit at a restaurant. And then they got rid of me because they realized they're like, it's kind of weird that he's this young. So I lost my first job. It's terrible. Okay. Then later on, I worked at Harvey's. I worked at the Harvey's on right off the highway on next to Namur Metro on Dekari.
Yeah.
I worked there. And in high school, I had the worst shift. It was Saturday and Sunday at like 6 a.m. So I would have to get up. There was no buses. I have to wait for the first bus, or I would have to walk in the snow to Plamondon Metro, and it was so far. It was awful. It was very awful. But I did that. It taught me a lot. Then I did some telemarketing. I got a job selling paper and ink to people. But I found out later on it was definitely a scam. Like they were selling paper and ink for like $300 to these poor businesses. That's like a $5 thing. But I was making. I was doing the night shift, and I was the youngest too. I was just a kid in high school, and I became the top seller in like a week. I was just very good on the phone talking to people. But then I made a joke on the phone, and they wanted to show an example of, well, you can't accept that, so they fired me. And then a week and a half later, they had to shut down the whole night shift. I was carrying that thing on my back. So
really?
Yeah. Oh, I was making sales like crazy. I knew how to talk to people, so I was making sales like crazy. Then, but that was still in high school. Then I worked at this is an interesting thing. So I remember I needed a job, and I must have been 18. And one of my buddies, it was like a weird line in the sand that I could have taken. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to get you a job. You could be a doorman at this strip club on St. Catherine."
At 18 years old, you were 18.
18 years old, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't want to get in that world. Like, I didn't want to be part of that world, but I needed a job." And at the same time, that same day, my other friend who was working at Jean Coutu at the pharmacy goes, "Hey, I could get you a job at the pharmacy." And I was like, and the money was way more at the strip club, but I was like, cool. I'm taking the pharmacy. Like I really wanted to. Yeah, really? I was trying my best to not like ruin my life, and I was like, I'll take the pharmacy. And I went, and I became the first.
Did you talk about this with Harry?
No, I didn't talk about to anyone. It was literally a decision at that moment. I was gonna go that night to go meet the people at that club, but my buddy told me, "Hey, they need someone." My buddy Dano, at the time, that they needed someone at the pharmacy.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, I'll go do the pharmacy." And then by mistake, they made me the first male cashier. They didn't hire me as a cashier, but then I was just good talking to people, so I became the first male cashier there. And then I would have regulars. People would come, and they knew me, and I would talk to them while I would serve them. And I would always like there was people that didn't have enough money, so I'd make it work. I'd be like, well, that guy left an extra $1 something, so okay, this is I'd always make it work for them. And sometimes
Yeah,
they would get mad at me because my cash wasn't balanced, but it was over. It was never under. Like no money was ever stolen. It's just people would see what I did for other people, so they would leave a lot of
really,
money. They'd be like, leave it, because they knew I wasn't gonna take it. They knew I was gonna find a way for if someone doesn't have enough. Because sometimes people will buy bread and it would be random stuff. It's not like they're getting makeup. So I can't have someone who's coming and it's a loaf of bread and they're missing 40 cents. I can't tell them to leave. If not, I'm gonna take it out of my pocket. So I would figure
yeah,
it out. And then people start to realize that. So they would leave more money. And I remember one night, the girl got so mad at me, the manager, because she's like, "Oh God, we have to figure something out." I go, "Why?" She's like, "Your cash is over by $100." She goes, "If it was under, we'd have a problem. We'd be like, you robbed us. But it's over. Did you rob someone over $100?" I go, "I didn't rob anyone. It's just I keep putting in the cash because people keep leaving me money." So I remember that she was very upset. But
I never heard that in my life, like being
yeah, if it's over or
over
under, they get very mad. They don't want you
over.
to be over. Yes, because they think, are you, this is what she told me. She goes, "I don't know, did you someone bought something for, I don't know, you have to give him $50 back and you didn't." Like she's thinking, worst case scenario, did I rob someone and they're gonna come back and be like, "This guy didn't get my change." But that never happened. It's not what was happening. What's happening was people saw what I was doing, so and they all knew, so they would just leave $2, $3, $4, but it adds up. You get 10 people, they're leaving $4. You're already at $40. I have a
But
fucking
wait,
8-hour shift. Yeah.
people were doing that because they were seeing your intention and they wanted to contribute to your intention. Is
Yeah,
that
because
it?
I would do it for them too. Because what happened a lot was some people, the people that would leave the most money were people that I already had given $1 to or 40 cents to. They would, when they would have money, they would come in and they'd leave. I don't know if they were leaving it as a tip, but I can't keep it. I can't
Yeah,
accept it. So I would just put it back in
yeah,
because I was stupid at the time.
oh,
I would put it back in the cash. What I should have
yeah,
done is
yeah.
kept it on the side in case someone needs it, but I would just leave it all in the cash. So then at the end, they'd be like, "Why is this guy's cash over?" You know, if he was stealing money, it would be under. But now it looks like he's not stealing from us. It looks like he's stealing from them. So it
It's
was a weird
like if
thing. Yeah.
you're running a charity live,
Yeah.
you're giving a charity, like it's, at the end of you do IGA or whatever grocery store, say, "Hey, you want to leave like $2 for this cause?" And like you can say yes, but it's like you're
Yeah.
the cause. It's like, oh no, let's give a little more for this guy. Like this guy is the cause, like he's gonna give it to someone. There's kind of a movement there.
That for that reason, like I was a good cashier, except for that I was a terrible cashier because there's no way. I'm telling you right now, I'll say it publicly. If I ever get hired, I'm never gonna do it again. But if I get hired as a cashier, there's no way in hell somebody could come buying food and they don't have enough money. And if they like, I would just pay for it. There's no way in hell I'm gonna let someone leave there. It's impossible. I can't even fathom it. It's impossible. So I wasn't the right person to put at that job.
But okay, like does it represent how you are? Like you will think of others before yourself, even if it's gonna ruin you? Like, do you have this pattern of giving more than you
Yeah,
receive?
I have that pattern, and it's not a good pattern. Like I said, these are the things that sound good on paper, but they only
Yeah.
sound good on paper if everyone does them. Since everyone doesn't do them, I
Yeah.
get screwed over a lot
Oh yeah.
because what I've done, and in business, it screwed me over a lot. And I learned it later because I didn't. I learned it from friends that I met through business that they knew more and they taught me. I had this, and I do it sometimes too now, but I try to avoid it. I have this very bad habit. I assume that everyone's intentions are the same. So I
Okay.
assume I wouldn't do that. Why would they? Which is, I'm telling you right now, the worst way to think in business because you're going to get repeatedly screwed over because most of these people do not care about you. They don't think like you because I'm like, I wouldn't do that to him. But they don't think the same way. So then when they get into a position like that where it's either we can all win a little or they could win a lot, but they could screw you over, I end up
Yeah.
getting screwed over. And
Yeah.
it's happened to me with people that I've helped a lot too. It's happened to me
Yeah.
with people that happened to me in my old studio. It's happened to me. It's just so the more older I get, like I try not to have that pattern. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
get caught up in it and I'll get screwed over, but not as much as I used to. It was so naive. Like I was just like, oh, of course, they would do the same for me, and no, it's never like that. So that's a hard. It hurts. Like I think about it now. I'm thinking of certain situations. Like one guy, he like it was for money. Like for $2,000, he disappeared. For $2,000, I've never seen this guy again. A whole friendship of years, whatever.
Yeah.
Just over $2,000. He didn't want to pay
Yeah.
back $2,000. So and it's money. It's just
Yeah.
money. You're gonna lose a whole friendship with yeah. So and there's a lot of situations where it's not even money, it's other stuff where they
Yeah.
just it happens. It's you learn it. It's just part of life. It's you win some, you lose some.
So, do I understand that you've because of this tendency that you have, you've experienced betrayals a lot?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's happened. Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Betrayals are like a constant. You know, that's why I keep my circle close. Now I have like
Yeah,
a tight knit circle,
yeah,
and like I trust the people that I have around me.
yeah,
You got to be able to trust, because if you don't trust the people around you, you start becoming angry and psychotic. So you have to trust the people around you. So like I trust my, like, you know, I have like I said, my nephew is involved in the business now. I have him as a producer.
yeah,
My best friend Mike Ward, who's, you know him, he's a comedian.
yeah.
No one has ever in my adult life, no one has ever looked out more for me than that man, and with zero to gain.
You mean
He's
Mike?
in fact Mike. In fact, he's
Mm.
even put himself on the line for me when he doesn't have to. Like, he's very so. I've been lucky. I have to admit, I've been very lucky. I've had the opportunity to have very good people and still do in my life,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's a it's a luxury and it's a gift. It's a blessing that people sometimes overlook. Just
yeah.
having the right people in your life, because sometimes you can't just force someone to be in your life. You get lucky that you have people that want to be in your life, and I've been
Mhm.
very lucky to have just a bunch of awesome, good people around me. It helps so much.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, of course, and and if I may, can I come back to where after Jean Coutu, the cashier
Yeah.
job,
Okay. So
what followed after? What did you do?
then I was at Jean Coutu, and oh, this is a funny anecdote. So I got someone had sent me a link for, they were starting to do video game testing, a job to test video games in
Okay,
Montreal at the Sun Life building downtown
okay,
on Metcalf.
yeah,
And I applied for it. And at the same time at Jean Coutu, there was a manager there, this Algerian guy. He wanted me to become the assistant manager. He already had an assistant manager, but I guess he wanted me to become he's like, you could lead, you could be a manager, you know, people listen to you. So I was thinking about it. But they offered me the job to go work in video games. And I was like, I don't want to be in Jean Coutu. My plan was not to be a manager and to own a Jean Coutu. I don't care. It's Jean Coutu. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be here forever. I have other ambitions. Let me
yeah,
try the video game testing thing. Could be fun. So he
yeah.
got very mad at me. That guy, he got very, he told me he was going to make a necklace with my teeth. He said, yeah, he said, you betrayed me. I thought you were going to be my assistant manager. I go, you thought I was going to work here my whole life? I'm a young dude. Like, you think my whole life is Jean Coutu? So my other
Yeah.
buddy who worked there at the time, my buddy Viron, he had got a job there. He heard us yelling and he walked into the office and he just saw him holding me like this and me like this, because he had threatened. He said, yeah, I'm going to make a necklace out of your teeth. I was like, yeah, make a necklace right now. And he just walks in on us and he's like, is this you guys okay? You guys okay? And he kind of stopped it. And I go, this guy's crazy. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna do my 2 weeks. Like, you don't have to do your 2 weeks. I'm gonna pay you so you don't do your 2 weeks. And I was like, this is insane. Like, this guy thought I was gonna be his partner in crime at the
Wow.
pharmacy forever. It's
So
crazy.
he felt betrayed.
He felt super betrayed. And I even told him, I go, this is like, I'm not even, it's not like I told you, here's my 2 or 3 weeks. I gave him minimum 2 weeks. I go, like, this is what people do. Like, this is normal. I'm not,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, and I'm not even assistant manager. I never even accepted the job. I said, I'll think about it. So, anyways,
yeah,
so that happened. I got into video games. What's funny about leadership, here's the thing. When I got into video games, this is another bad decision I made. I should have said yes. So when they first interviewed me, they wanted me, they go, we want you to be a test lead. We want you to lead a team of testers. They go, you have these qualities. And I was like, oh, no, I don't think I could manage a team. And they're like, we think you could. And I said, no. I said, no, let me start as a tester. I want to learn the business, which was a bad move because after a few months, I ended up becoming a lead anyway, but I was
yeah.
getting paid less than what they had initially offered me. Because so
Mhm.
it was a dumb move, but I didn't know. I was scared. I never
Yeah,
did that job. It was a job with like a lot of technical writing, and like I was scared. You know, I didn't realize that okay, you could do this. So then I became a test lead there, and I was working video games from, I want to say 20. It was 2000. It might have been 2008, maybe 2008, maybe, yeah, 20 till 2012. And my best friend at the time, Milton, he was working there with me, and he used to work in restaurants. He was a waiter.
yeah.
And it came to a time where he didn't like the pressure because I had gotten him a promotion as well to become a lead, and he's
Okay.
different. He liked to listen. He even told me, he goes, I like someone to tell me what to do. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm not like you. I can't.
yeah,
It makes me nervous. I don't like leading people.
yeah,
So he quit and he went back to being a waiter. And then I was like sad because every day for years I'd go into work with my best friend. We'd go in
yeah,
together. So it was
yeah.
fun. So then I started to get sad and I go, man, I was thinking of quitting and they didn't want me to quit. So they sent me to Electronic Arts, which was across the street, EA, to do on contract to help them with games. And then while working at EA as a development tester, they offered me. They go, look, we're not allowed to make you an official offer. It's illegal because you're hired from them. But if you give us the okay, we can ask them and say that you're okay with us making you an offer. We'd like you to come work as a development coordinator for us. And then
Okay.
I was like, yeah, I don't want to go back there anyway. My best friend's not there. I don't want to go back there. So then
Yeah.
EA offered me a contract. I started, I believe, in 2010, working for Electronic Arts. The best job ever at the time. It was they have, you go in, there's breakfast for you. They pay for your gym memberships. I would go to the gym across the street. I'd come back. There's no punch clock system, right? You're a salaried employee. So what ends up happening is if you like your job, you don't notice, but you work more. You work more, but you're happy. So I was going in. It didn't matter if it was at night. I'd finish late. I'd show up casually late at 11 a.m. But I'd always get my stuff done. I'd stay, do overtime, not care, just have a fun time. Yeah. And then they shut down their operations here. So the only option was if I wanted to move to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to move to Vancouver. I have my family here, all that. So I ended up, I'm like, what am I going to do? I was very sad. I remember losing that job. I was very sad. I was very, very sad because I was like, oh no, I'm unemployed. This is weird. And I was making okay money.
How old were you at that time?
This was mid-20s. I was in my mid-20s.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't feel good at all. I remember that. And then I went back. They gave me a job. They paid me better, but they gave me a job leading a team back at the old testing place. Yeah. And I was there for like 2 months, but I was very depressed. I didn't like being back there. I felt like I took a step back.
Yeah.
And then by coincidence, one of my so in video games, you have producers. They produce the games. Yeah. And one of my producers, Mary Kay, she was a very good producer. She worked on some big titles. She was a very good video game producer. She liked me a lot because when we first met, I was cracking jokes. Like she's one of the people I think that got me the job at EA, that wanted them to hire me, because in the first meeting, she'll say this story still. She still thinks it's funny. But everyone was introducing what you do. I didn't even know what the hell I had to do. It was Rock Band. It was something about licensing. I didn't even know what they wanted me to do, but I was just there. And then there's like, this is Pantelis, and he does this, and he does that. And like, this is Mary Kay Lee. And it's like, she's a producer. And then I just said as a joke, I go, yeah, why don't you go produce me a latte? And then, but it was just perfect time. And then she started laughing. Everyone started laughing. And the way I said it, like now it sounds harsh, but at the time, in the context, it worked.
Now it sounds bad, but at the time it was good.
Yeah, because at the time it was like, okay, do this. This is what they do. Do this. And then it came to me and do this. And then this Mary Kaylee, what does she do? She's a producer. I go, how about you produce me a latte? Because they gave me a lot of stuff to do. So I was going to need to work a lot of hours. So in the context, it worked. But it was like, I like this guy. I really like this guy. And then we became friends. So anyways, she got another job at another company producing mobile apps. And she said, you know what? Look, I don't think you're going to get the pay you deserve. And it's a bit of a hectic thing, but I think you can do this job. So I went and I applied. I did an interview. I didn't think I was going to get it. And because I was the youngest one applying for that position to be a project manager, essentially, to produce applications from scratch. Yeah. And they gave me the job. I became the youngest producer there. We were producing mobile apps. It gave me the opportunity to work with big companies. I got to work at the time with Red Bull. I made friends with Twitter at the time. I got to go to, because of that, I got to go to like the red carpet of like the, what was it at the time? It was the American Music Awards and the Hollywood Film Awards. I got to meet so many people. And what's crazy is I remember one summer, I was thinking, this is why the universe is weird sometimes. I think it was maybe July. And I was like, you know what sucks? I always had these dreams. I wanted to do something more. I wanted to see Hollywood. And I'm never going to get to do it. And then a month later, I got a contract that we had this mobile app that we were going to do on the red carpet. So they go, you got to go there and you're going to meet all the celebrities and they have to sign this stuff for their fans. So I got to go to LA. I got to go to Hollywood. I got to do all these red carpet events. I got to meet new friends. I got to do comedy while I was there. So it's weird how the universe sometimes like, nah, like we got you. Just stay the path. So I learned all those skills there. And then after years of working there, it was kind of a toxic environment too. It was the guy who owned it was kind of a prick. So people kept quitting. So I ended up being like one of the last people to stay there. Yeah. And then I left. It was a startup that I started working for virtual reality and augmented reality. And I became one of their producers. And then I brought my contacts from Twitter and we started to work. We started to do Comic-Con work for them as well. So, and I would fly back and forth. I got to go back to LA and see my friends I had seen a while over there. So I was doing that for a while. Yeah. And it was good. It was very good. I was also consulting. And in 2018, I was doing stand up, by the way, at night. So in 2010, I started a podcast. And in
Yeah, but
2012, yeah,
this is my question. Like, when is this podcast, this kind of career? You know what you're known for
yeah.
that now. So when did it start? You know, in
So
this
I started
process.
in 2010 when I was working at Electronic Arts.
Yeah,
And there was a moment at EA where they were asking, I remember, for ideas, innovate. Do you have any app ideas? All this stuff. And I was pitching a podcast app. This was before Stitcher had come out. And I had said,
yeah,
hey, maybe there could be an app where it could be lower bit rate. So people, because at the time it was very expensive. Data wasn't like it is now where everyone has data.
yeah,
You would measure it a lot. And no one believed in podcasts. Like, we don't understand what this is. No one got it yet. It was still very
yeah,
early in Canada. No one
yeah,
got it. And
yeah.
I had my podcast, and it started with like 12 listeners for a year. And then after the first year, it was called the 4H podcast. We'd have like 1,000 people, then 2,000 people, then people in Germany messaging us, then all these other places. And I was like, well, this is crazy. You know, people in the States. We did a call-in show. They would
Yeah.
call us.
How did you come up with this idea? Because it was not.
Oh,
It's not like,
I could tell
oh,
you.
how, because it's a new thing, and it's exactly, you said it, like it's not a real thing, like it's just like for baby stuff, it's a kid stuff, like what.
Yeah.
And you need to, like, how did you come up with this, and to love it that much, and to believe in this that much when there's no one around? This is the process that I would like to understand.
I don't know if I've said this to anyone yet, but you're gonna hear it first, and it's through failure because I love movies. I wrote scripts. I've sold scripts. I always wanted to film stuff. When I got lucky. Remember when you were young in Montreal, you could go to the corner store and you could buy stuff that you shouldn't be allowed to buy when you're young, like cigarettes or lottery tickets.
Yeah, yeah,
So when I was 12 years old, I went and bought one of those scratch cadeau surprise,
yeah,
and I won a camcorder, a Sony camcorder, like an expensive one. And my mom went to go pick it up at Lotto Quebec, and they gave her the choice at the time. They said, well, you can get the camera, we'll pay you like what's the equivalent. And my mom's like, nah, my son really wants the camera. Give me the camera.
really.
So she brought
Okay.
back the camera, yeah. And I started making movies. I started making home movies with my friends. We had the camera. It was awful. It was garbage, but we were having fun. So I always loved making movies. And then the podcast technically comes from failure because I was trying to get into the Concordia Film School. They have the film section,
Yeah,
and you had to make like a film, like a short film to show them something.
yeah,
So I wrote a
yeah.
script, and I got all my friends together, and I made a pilot for a series.
Okay.
And I used that to try to get into the film school.
This
And
camcorder.
this camcorder, I filmed it with that camcorder. I made this, and now this was years later. Now I was an adult, and I used it, and I made what I thought was going to be funny, and they did not like it. They did not let me in. They even told me, I had a meeting with the lady, and she goes, yeah, it's weird that no one does comedy. Like, she was telling me, like, it shouldn't, if you want to come into like this school, you shouldn't have done comedy. You should have done like an artistic thing, like, like a black and white, someone's killing themselves in the bathtub type of stuff. And I got very
Something deep
offended.
and serious and meaningful.
I got very offended though. I got very offended because I was like, well, comedy is a real thing. Like, people love comedy, and it's an actual art form. Like, it's part of the
Yeah.
arts. Like, this is stupid that
Yeah.
you're saying. So I got very upset. I ended up getting Concordia later, but in history, a history major. But so, yeah, I was doing everything in parallel. So because I spent all my money that I had at the time on that thing that didn't work, I had no more money left, but I still had I still needed an artistic outlet. And I used
Yeah.
to listen at work. I used to have my headphones on all the way from the video game job, all the way
Yeah.
from the testing job before even EA. I would listen to Sirius XM satellite radio, because what I would do is every month you just create a new email and you get a free service. So just create a new email every month and you just have free Sirius XM.
Yeah.
So, and I would listen to Opie and Anthony. I loved
Okay.
Opie and Anthony. They were the guys that they showed me who Bill Burr was, Patrice O'Neill, Rogan. I learned from them. They had the best comics on. Louis C.K. They had the best comics on, and they would just have fun, and it felt so much like just friends having a conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I bought a little microphone, and it was I think we have it here in the studio. It was a Logitech microphone that was meant for one person to speak into, and it was awful sound. And I
Yeah.
got my friends together in my buddy Homer's basement, and I go, look, we're gonna do something. It's called podcasting. This is the show. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I go, oh, this is the show. Just whatever we're doing now, we're gonna do it, but on the show, we're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk about our days, because we're all like kind of morons. So I go, this is the show, and they didn't get it at first, but then they really started to get it. They got it quick on what podcasting is, and just the joke aspect of it and the being quick and all that, because they're all pretty funny. So we
Yeah.
all started, like, we're 5 guys around this tiny microphone, horrible sound. I started to share it a lot. People were like, what is this? And then some people started to really like it. People would send me messages like, I've been listening to your podcast. This happened to you last week. It happened to me at the same place. And all that, it started to build up. And after a year, I spent more money. I bought a better microphone so people could hear us better. It was only audio. And
So it was in 2010. You started that in 2010.
In 2010. So this was happening in parallel, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about it now. After 1 year, I remember we had passed like 1,000 something subscribers, and people were sending us messages. And I would post Sundays at midnight. It would go up, so you can have it for the week. Yeah. And people were waiting for it. I remember if it was late, people were sending messages: "The podcast coming out? Is the podcast?" So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then in 2013, I started in parallel the Pantelis podcast, just so I could be able to interview people myself. Yeah. And then my friends kind of in like around 20, I want to say it was the 100th something episode. They stopped showing up. Like, it was me. I was investing everything in it. And they didn't see where podcasts could go. It was around 2017, 2018. Yeah. And I had rented like an office space, and it became my new studio on Kremezi. Yeah. And then I remember my buddy Alex was like, he's like, oh, I feel weird that like you're spending all this money and we feel like you're just wasting your money and you're wasting your time. So then they kind of got busy and they backed off and they didn't want to do the podcast anymore. So then I remember I found myself alone with a studio, but no one to do a podcast with. And I felt terrible because I was like, I was paying for everything. I was doing it all. And I was like, all they had to contribute was their time. Like, they were worried like, oh, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time, but it's just my money, and I'm the one editing. So what ended up happening?
What was your motivation behind that? You're alone investing this. You're kind of leading the thing. It's still early in the time, in the era of podcasts. You're working on the side. Like, how do you keep that up? What's fueling you? Where are you going with this at this time?
Well, because we skipped, just so you know, my full schedule at the time when it was at its peak. I was working 9 to 5 full time in the morning. Yeah. And then at 6 p.m., I was going to Concordia, 6 to 10, 6 to 8, depending on the night. And then after that, I was going around doing stand-up spots. And then Friday nights at midnight, I would also, at midnight, we would record a podcast.
Wow. You had like 4 lives in one day.
Yeah. And you had to try to juggle everything. So it wasn't easy. Like, looking, I don't know if I would rebuild, knowing what I know now. I don't know if I'd say to my younger self, you got to do this, because it was crazy, but you're in it, so you don't notice. You're just you just kind of go. This is what life is. You have to work, you have to go to school, you have to do all this. So I was just doing that, and then I remember thinking a lot of times of giving up because other people wouldn't understand it. Same thing with stand-up.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the universe sometimes gives you a bone, because I was doing the Pantelis podcast by myself with my guests. Yeah. And stand-up, I was very good. I was one of the best English stand-ups in the city at a certain point.
Yeah.
But nothing was happening for me here. There was nothing. Just for Laughs wasn't booking me in the summer. There's no real opportunities. All the writing jobs are in Toronto. They're not really here. Yeah. So I was kind of in this weird position where I'd go to the States. I got to perform at the Comedy Store. I got to go to the Ice House. I would get more respect from Americans than I would get in my own city. Yeah. So I'd be like, I don't know what to do. And then I got booked to do a show at a bike shop. They repair bikes. And I remember driving there. I was thinking, this is going to be my last show. I'm going to have to stop stand-up and then figure out if I stop podcasting or not, and, see where I go from here, because I tried so hard, and there's no future, there's nothing. And I thought of canceling, but I never canceled the show. So I go, no, I'm going to go do it. And then that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the universe, that's the night where I met Mike Ward, who ended up becoming my best friend. He was just watching me. Like, when he describes it from his point of view, he was just watching how I was backstage and how I was talking to the comics, and I was joking, I was roasting them, and then he saw me like on stage perform, and he was telling people like, "Yo, this guy's like actually funny." And he doesn't sound like a Canadian. This guy sounds like a New York comedian. He doesn't. Yeah. There's something about him. It's because I was influenced by the same stuff he was influenced by, American comics and New York comedy. So I had that voice, not a Montreal voice or not a Canadian voice for comedy. Yeah. And by coincidence, Mike had received an offer from the old Opie and Anthony that I used to watch. Anthony from SiriusXM started his own podcast company, and he would have the main show Monday to Thursday at 4 p.m. and he wanted a show on Fridays, and they approached Mike to have a podcast there on that network, and which is quite a coincidence because I used to listen to that stuff too. And Mike, he took the offer and he tried some test podcasts with some comedians that were here, and it didn't work. There was no it just didn't. It didn't feel. They kept saying, it doesn't work for us. It's not going to work for an American audience. And then when he saw me that day, he asked me. He goes, "Hey, do you know anything about podcasting?" I go, "Yeah, I am a podcaster." He goes, "Well, I don't know if you ever heard of Opie and Anthony." He explained to me. I go, "Have I heard of them? I listen to them all the time."
Yeah.
I go, "Well, they made me an offer. I did. Anyways, do you want to try and do a podcast?" And I go, "Well, Mike, I have my own studio. Let's just go to my studio. We'll record one there." He's like, "You have a studio? This is perfect." So I took his offer. We went. We recorded a test episode. He sent it to them. That's what ended up becoming 2 Drink Minimum. And they said, "Oh, okay, this works." They go, "This guy, okay, yeah, you should have had this guy. You know, your friend on this podcast for a while." And then Mike's like, "No, we just met. This is the first podcast we do." And then even they were shocked because the chemistry, because it's just some people you meet and it just works. Mike's like my long lost brother, you know.
Yeah.
So then Mike's like, "Yeah, they're offering us money. We're gonna do this show." And I was like, "Okay." So I was recording the show, and I was editing it. We were sending to them. They would put it on every Friday, and then to announce it, we had to fly to New York. And New York was the one city that I had never been to. I'd been to LA so many times, and I had avoided New York, and I was too excited. And I thought Mike was playing a prank on me because the day we were going, he got the tickets, everything was ready. I show up at the airport, and Mike wasn't there. And I'm texting him, he's not answering. And I'm like,
nice joke.
I get on the plane, and Mike's not there. The plane's going to take off, and I'm like, wait a second. Am I going to another country, another city? I don't know where I'm going to stay. Like, what the hell's happening? And then right before I have to turn the phone off, I get a text from Mike. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I got drunk last night. I just woke up." He goes, "Go. I'm going to send you all the info for where we're going to stay. Go by yourself. I'm going to take a later flight." And I thought it was a prank. So I remember I get out and I packed too much. I packed this huge luggage for 2 days. I remember getting out and looking around like outside the airport. I'm like, what the fuck? And, you can see as far ahead. And I go, holy shit, I feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2. Like, I don't know what to do, you know? And then I got a cab, I remember, and I went to where, at the time it was like Airbnb. I think it was an Airbnb because I went to a corner store in a lockbox to get the key to go up to the apartment. Anyways, and then Mike came at night. He actually showed up and went to eat, but it was so scary. I thought it was a prank that he was playing on me. Like, it wasn't real. And we went on the show to announce it. And then I remember everyone in New York, like all the tweets, who the fuck is this guy? I got so much hate. So much hate. And then when I did the interview, like on the show with Anthony, I was myself because Mike told me, goes, they're going to hate you because they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Trust me, be yourself. And the same people that are talking shit right now, look at the tweets. You're going to send and that's what happened. At the end of the show, they're like, "Oh, fuck, this guy's good." Like I had some crazy, I still have like the best line that I had that night that made Anthony laugh too. And then they got to know me. They're like, "Okay, this guy, he's a real comedian. He knows what he's, you know, he's not the." So, and then 2 Drink Minimum picked up, and that opened so many doors for me. But the biggest thing I got out of all that was the friendship. It was Mike. I got that best friend that I didn't know existed. That we have the same, you know, we think alike. He's very selfless. Mike helps whoever he can, and he has the same type of humor as me. As the jokes could be crazy, they're very hard, but they're because it makes us laugh. We don't want to hurt people. We want to laugh, you know. So we think it's funny. So, and I had someone to bounce ideas off. And then we got on Joe Rogan. Same thing. Joe Rogan, Mike was also trying to get on Joe Rogan for a while. Yeah. And Joe Rogan was at the studio in New York. He was recording with Anthony. And I saw the tweet and I was like, you know what? So I sent a message first. I called our producer there. What's his name? Oh my God. I'm so sorry that I'm forgetting it now. Anyways, and I tell him, is Rogan there? He goes, yeah. I go, can you ask him? You know, me and Mike are going to be in LA at this time if we could go do the podcast. And it wasn't true. We weren't going to be in LA at the time. I just said it because I know it's less stress on someone if they know you're already in the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we don't like asking Joe for favors. No. And then I started to bully him because he was a cop. Keith the cop, because he used to be a cop. So I know cops don't like to get bullied. So I started saying, you're such a fruit. You're this, you're that. And he's like, I'm not gay. He's freaking out. I was like, I'm going to ask him. I'm not scared. I'm going to ask him. I knew how to push his buttons. And so then he shows Rogan. He goes, yeah, you know, this 2 Drink Minimum. It's Mike Ward. You already know who Mike Ward is. This is Guy Pantelis, you know. And then Rogan's like, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. And so he booked it for, I found out, I think in August or September. I don't remember. And we were going on in like November, October, something. So I had to keep my mouth shut, you know, during that whole time because I didn't want to jinx it. Yeah. And I was so excited. But Mike was on a plane. So Mike was on a plane at the time from Montreal to Florida. So he had no idea that I was doing this. So I text him. I go, call me back. I called Keith. I called Keith some slurs, but we're gonna be on Rogan. And
What
he
was his
lands.
reaction?
He
How
thought I
did he
was joking.
react?
Like, what happened? So then I tell him everything, and then he goes, "You risked our jobs at the thing so that we could be on Rogan." And I go, "Yeah." And he's like, "But we're on Rogan." I go, "Yeah." He starts laughing. He goes, "Great job." He goes, and then he calls his manager and he goes, "You know," he goes, "that the fucking kid from Park X did it." He goes, "The fucking kid from Park X got us on Rogan." And his manager's like, "How?" He goes, "He bullied. He bullied the producer. He bullied. He questioned his sexuality, and it worked. The kid knows how to push buttons." He goes, so I remember that was, and Mike was he found it so funny, and he was so happy because I saw an opportunity. There's no other way. Like, he's there in the studio. The guy that I'm texting is next to him. It was a good opportunity for me to just, why not just try? What do I have to lose, to get
Yeah.
on the biggest podcast? And I
Yeah.
used to say it. I remember my buddy Andy Tenderloins, he doesn't do comedy anymore. But in the 2012s, 13s, when we were doing comedy together, when I started comedy in 2012. So 2012, 13, and I was podcasting, and he would come on my podcast. And I told him, I think even on a show, and I used to tell him, I go, one day I'm going to be on Joe Rogan. I'm going to do it. And he goes, it's weird because we all thought it's never going to happen. But inside, I always felt like, fuck, if somebody's going to do it, it's going to be him. Like, he's like, because you don't stop. And it ended up, making it happen. It's crazy. Yeah. So I forgot where we were, but it's a funny anecdote.
It's really interesting, and the journey for me, it's really interesting because you started your podcast when you were it was 2010. A couple of friends got in, they got out, and at a certain point you wanted to give up stand up, and you, like, how long was it, the struggle, the hustle to get to to New York, Joe Rogan? How many years did you have to self motivate yourself to do that?
8 years to that point, and then I got that, and then that opened doors, but it still wasn't. I had to, like, I wasn't making a lot of money doing stand-up, so for like 2-3 years I was doing consulting on the side. I had a buddy who has a company in California, and I was consulting for project management for him. So it was a good thing that I had that job to keep me afloat,
Yeah.
And then it started to I started to unlock the code to realize, like, okay, well, how do I make money off my podcast? And then I realized when I started doing French comedy, well, my French podcast is kind of like free publicity. People listen to it a lot. So it's my billboard. People see me, they listen to the podcast, they subscribe. So then when I go to their city, they're like, oh, I want to watch this guy do stand-up. I listen to his podcast. So then advertisers, people started to listen. They started to like me. They go, hey, we'd like to advertise on your podcast. We like what you stand for. Like now I have Policy, for example. They sell mattresses. But I know the owner. He's a very, very good dude. Jeremiah, his name is. Him too. He started from scratch to build that company. And so he's like, you know what? I want to advertise on your podcast. I want you to do commercials for me. I want you this summer. I'm like the face of I'm making commercials. I'm like the Polysleep guy, So I was like, okay, so I can use this thing that I built. It took me so many years to build. I have this audience. I can use that to generate revenue. To then continue growing, build a bigger studio. And then I have other people that they want to start a podcast, like friends of mine, a comedian. So then I'm in a better position. I have all this equipment. I'm in a better position to help them. Because like I already have, you don't need much. Just pay for a producer. I already have the layout for you. Come here, get it done. So now I'm able to bring other people up with me, which is very good. It's what I always wanted to do. And I'm just getting bigger. Like my stand-up in French, Mike is the one who, again, he forced me to do it in French. I didn't think I would do it in French because of my accent. They're not going to like it. And then he invited me to Mike does theaters and arenas. They're not like little clubs. To a theater in Saint Jerome. I had never even been to Saint Jerome. And like 2 minutes before the show's going to start, Mike's like, all right, so you're ready. You're going to go open. And then, preacher's going to bring you up and you're going to open. Then preacher's going to do some time. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you're going to go do it. I go, in French? He's like, yeah, in French. I go, I haven't spoken French in years. He's like, I'm sure you're going to figure it out. He goes, what's the worst thing? He goes, this way he told me. He said, I believe in you. He goes, so I think you're good enough that you're going to figure it out. If I'm wrong, okay, I'm wrong about you. You suck. You shouldn't have a career in stand-up. He goes, he's like, but I think I'm right about you. He goes, I think I'm right about you. And he was right.
So you like French is not your first language. You were more comfortable in English, and you had to jump in. Sorry?
I was more comfortable in English, even though I did all my schooling in French. It was very I grew up when French and English, they had a big problem with each other. And even though I was Greek, they kind of took it out on like people like me is the people who kind of ate the brunt of it, because what ended up happening is If you're English, it's like, these immigrants, they would assume that I was on the other side. And then if you're French, same
Yeah.
thing, you would assume I was on the other side. But we were in the middle. We just like being here. We like speaking other
Yeah.
languages. But we
Yes.
kept getting attacked from both sides. So what happened was I was just consumed by television. So I was more fluent in English. And I even though I went to French school, I would consume all my art
Yeah. Yeah.
in English.
Yeah.
And then in school, I could give you an anecdote. I remember in high school, I got in trouble. I got suspended because the principal caught me speaking English after school across the street at the bus stop. I was across the street at the bus stop, not on school property, and he heard me speaking English, so he suspended me. And my mom had to come in, and then my mom was actually shocked. She goes, "Okay, I thought maybe he was lying to me, but did you? Is this really what happened?" He's like, "Yeah, I caught him after school speaking over there." And then mom was like, "Look, man, I want him to speak French also, but that's too much. Like, it's not even on the property." And then she goes, "What if you'd see him at another place?" He goes, "If I see him on Saturday at a mall speaking English, Monday I would suspend him." And then mom was like, "Okay, this is like you're overdoing it." And that kind of tension kind of pushed a lot of people like me away from French for years.
Yeah.
I didn't like
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
Mike who introduced me back into it, and he's like, "No, that's like
Yeah.
fanatical. That's a moron. That's not real. That's not real Quebecers. That's not how they act." So he
Yeah.
got me back into it, and then it showed. And then now it's different. Now I fell in love completely. I'm all immersed in Quebec. I became Mr. Quebec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, these because all these years where you're working, you're studying at Concordia, you're doing stand up, you're working during the day 9 to 5, you do your podcast, and you're kind of this a one show guy. You need to lead all these things, and there is pressure accumulating with time. And for me, I think, and for the people that will watch this, how do you go through a struggle? How do you manage anxiety? How do you manage feeling like a loser because you're not getting the success or the recognition that you want, and you're taking lots of risks? You show
Yeah.
yourself, you put yourself, you put your finances at risk for that. Like, it's a lot of pressure, and it's like, I don't want to skip this part. Like, oh yeah, I did that, and I met my quark, and it worked. Like I want to go
It's a
through
lot of
this
work.
phase. So explain to me, how did you manage for example, the imposter syndrome? Like,
Yeah.
how
I
do
still have
you
a lot of it.
yeah.
I still have a lot of the imposter syndrome. I still sometimes I'll find myself in a situation. It's like just a beautiful. I don't know. It's a big show. It's something important, and I'll be like, am I good enough? Do I really deserve to be here? And
Yeah.
then after the show, I'll get the reaction from people, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, why did I doubt myself? Like, I'm clearly this is what I'm meant to do. But I still get that fear of I shouldn't be here. It happens a lot. Like, wow, I can't believe where I am right now. That happens a lot. The the doubts, they would creep in a lot, especially when I wasn't doing well. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, were the doubters right? Like, am I wasting my time? Am I not good
Yeah.
enough?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I would see someone succeed who wasn't good, who was nowhere near as good as me, whether it was in stand up or podcasting, and that
Yeah.
would motivate me. I'd be like, okay, so maybe it's not the skill level because I know I'm better than this person. Like, I'd see people on stage, and I'm like objectively, I'm better than this person on stage,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they have success, monetary or fame. So I go, okay, so then I can't give up. Like, I already know I'm measuring my stuff based on my skill. The rest will come if I keep working. But if I know already that this person that has already made it is not at my skill level, why am I going to stop? So I would do that. And also, the main thing that always kept me going was if I knew, and I'm looking at the camera to say this, if I don't do it, no one's going to do it for me. I'm the only person that could save myself. I knew that. And if I don't save myself, I can't save everyone else. I want to help everyone around me. If I give up, it's like I just dropped 50 people. You know what I mean? Like, I told like the people who believed in me from the beginning. There's a lot of people who believed in me from the beginning, friends of mine, family who just believed. They would just tell me, I want you to continue. I feel like you're going to be something. I feel like you're going to make it. So I knew that if I would just give up, also these people who put their it's not easy to just put your belief in someone. Like, I'm betting on
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
So I knew that no, I'm letting all these people down, and it's not right. They believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. It would be so wrong, so selfish to just be like, all right, guys, I'm out. And
Yeah.
I know that the bigger I get, the more opportunity I could give other people around me, the more I could be the guy that I wish I had younger, or I had younger in my career for all those years where I struggled. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, I might be able to, someone that might be thinking of giving up right now, I might be that Mike Ward to them. I might be the reason not to give up. And I get messages sometimes. Here's another thing about the universe. There's times where I doubt myself, even the last couple of years, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm. And then I'll get a message. I'll get a message from a fan in my Instagram, and it'll be like in French. Hey, thank you for your podcast. You talked about this. I just want to let you know I was struggling with very negative thoughts, suicide. And when you spoke about you like overcoming and not letting negative thoughts consume you and all that, and what's the point of letting go because you only get one shot at this, and at least try to experience it. You're gonna die anyway. Might as well live the max and all that. That changed my perspective. And thank you for comedians don't normally say that. They don't talk about the fact that they feel sad sometimes on podcasts. Thank you for saying that to me because to like kind of break the facade. And then I'm like, oh, I'll read it, and then I'll be like, okay, you see this? Like, it's not all for nothing. Like, there's one person right now that thought of killing themselves and didn't. Like, that's huge. That's huge. That's the person who wrote. What about the other person that they didn't kill themselves, but it just made them happy. It made their day better. So they're not going to send me a message, but it made their day a little bit better. Like, okay, there's thousands of people that listen every week. It's impossible that no one's being positively affected. Maybe I don't see it right away instantly, but it doesn't mean I should stop. So sometimes when I'm down on myself, the universe will give me these gifts. Like, I'll get a message and I'll be like, if not for me, I got to do it for this guy because this guy actually helped him, So sometimes you get gifts. It's not all. It doesn't always come from inside, like you're Superman. Sometimes the universe just picks you up, just helps you a bit, and you need that. You can't do everything alone. You need sometimes that helping hand or guidance. It falls. I do see a lot of people speaking online about how good they are and how I built this myself and I did this, and it's rare, normally impossible. Someone helped at some capacity, whether it's with your just your emotional side, an idea, a friend, someone. You can't just get up by yourself and be a robot. You get down on yourself. It's going to happen to everyone. It still happens to me. You go from super highs to super lows. You just have to realize that you're the only one that can actually do the work. But at the same time, you have to look for some assistance somewhere. Whether it could just be emotional, but why not?
Yeah. So when you during this 8 years of working and not getting the reinforcements that you wanted, and at a certain point you told yourself, okay, this is my last show.
Yeah.
How did you get to this point of almost give up? Like, were you running out of energy? Or you didn't have any reinforcement, any encouragement? You felt so alone that it's like it hurts too much. How did you get to this point?
I'm trying to remember what I felt at the time. I know that I felt sad. I felt sad and disappointed because I would constantly showcase. I remember the time for Just for Laughs, and I would never get picked. But then other people that were doing showcases with me that weren't as good, I remember, would get it. So I knew I was like, if it's political, I'm screwed because I don't know anyone there. I don't have the in. So there's nothing I could do. And then I'd go to the States and they would treat me nice. Like, I'd get respect from there. It's like, oh, it's Pantelis. And I'd be like, this is crazy. I'm not delusional. Like, the people who know comedy and these big clubs, they respect me. Yeah. What the hell's going on here locally, And then I was like, okay, I was spending a lot of time and a lot of money. And I was like, you know what? I got to focus. I got to focus on my relationship, and also if I want to build something for the future, I don't want to be 50 years old and homeless. Yeah. So if this isn't going to work at all, then maybe I got to find a way to cut it from me and just focus on building a business or working hard, saving some money. And, I was like, maybe I should put all my energy somewhere else. But it made me very sad. It made me very sad that I knew that I was good, but I didn't have the opportunities. And that's why I went. I go, out of respect for what I've done, I'm not going to cancel. I'm going to go do this last show, and then I'll figure out how to phase everything out, And the universe did not accept that as an answer, apparently.
So what would be your philosophy of life, of succeeding, of fulfillment? What you're talking a lot about mentorship today, about giving, to be the right example, to be the Harry that you can be for someone else, and a lot of people that are listening, they're listening because they need like some kind of orientation, some tips to try to push through something. And when you get confused, you retract yourself. You go to this breaking point, and some people, like, they're like, I'm not even sure that I have something to offer. So they retract themselves, and they become emotionally in atrophy. how do you keep moving? What's your take on how to push through in a healthy way with determination? What's your take on that?
So I have, I guess the best advice I could give, because I've lived it and I know it, is you don't really know. You can't see the finish line. So what ends up happening is kind of like what happened to me the day that I thought I was going to quit, and then it was actually the biggest breakthrough in my career at the time.
Yeah,
You put so much work. It's almost like you're building a house. Okay. And then you might even be at the roof. You might almost be one nail away, but you can't see. It's like the house is completely invisible until it's fully done. So you don't know how close you are because it's hard to see what you've built. So sometimes you're one nail away. It's just one nail. It's right there. It's the next day. Tomorrow, your life's going to change for the better because of all the work you've put in. But
yeah,
because you don't see it and you don't know it, you give up, and you just gave up that one day, that 1 week, that 1 year too early. And that's what I've noticed. And it happens a lot. Like when I don't think, when I think about giving up, but then I continue, I take a few steps and something big comes my way. And it's not the magic, it's all the work you put in. You put in so much work, but because you've already lived it, you put in the work. For you, it's forgotten. But for everything around you, it's not forgotten. You put in that work. Let's say your social media presence. Let's say you want to
yeah,
sell something.
yeah,
If you've gotten 5, 10,000, even more followers, 100,000 followers, you've already built that. To you, it's there, so you don't think about it. But if you're selling something, you have that base that you starting so far ahead. So you might be one Instagram post away from selling that online class, for selling your burgers, from selling, because of all the work you put in, but you don't see it. So sometimes people, it happens a lot. I speak to friends like who just give up too early, just too
yeah,
early. Like it's too much. It's too, because they don't see that they're one nail away. And it's happened to me many times. The thing with Mike, many times where I was one nail away, and I'm like, no, I'm putting the nail in, and then everything would appear. I'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe I was this close to not taking that risk, or not making that decision, just giving up. My biggest thing is don't give up. It sounds so cliche,
really,
but
yeah,
don't. If you actually care about it, there's no reason to give up, because at the end of the day, and it's sad, but it's true. No one has ever, and no one will ever make it out of whatever we're doing alive. It's never gonna happen. No one's. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one has ever made it out alive and reported back to us.
yeah,
So the end, whether you like it or not, is gonna come. It's gonna
yeah,
come. So why not, during the time that you're here, try your best to do something fulfilling, love hard, go be passionate, take some risks. Money also, I'm not telling you to be crazy and gamble your money away, but
yeah,
money's something you could make back. You could work and make it back. It's supposed to be a tool. Don't get caught up in the whole hoarding thing. It's supposed to be a tool. So use it to have fun. Use it to, and I don't mean have fun degenerately. Just have fun in the
mm,
sense, like, I don't know, take your wife on a trip, build that little studio in your shed to start your own podcast. Start a little side business. Put $1,000 aside and be like, you know what, we're gonna sell cupcakes from the home on the weekends. Anything, just live. And if it doesn't work, who cares? You continue until it's gonna end, whether you like it or not. This is all gonna end at some point. None of us is making out. So in the meantime, enjoy it. You know?
yeah. Well, one thing that I've always admired of you since I met you is like how much energy you have, and it's contagious and it's very inspiring, and because I think you have some special personality traits that helps. But even for people that are, for example, that are less extroverted or have more negative emotion, I personally think that it still applies, to move forward something that is worthwhile, and to be able to manage, like, day by day, okay, what can I do today with the energy and the resources that I have, but not give up on what's worthwhile, because there are no plan B. Like, what's your plan B? To not care about something that is important for you? It's
Yeah.
like to avoid the feeling of failure. It doesn't seem like it's going to lead somewhere good, but it's hard. Yesterday I was giving a class, and I was coaching someone in front of people. Okay. And it's a brilliant 30-year-old woman. She's very intelligent. She's beautiful. She has goals, but she's absolutely stuck in stagnation. She cannot move forward, but she doesn't know. Okay. She's consulting other psychologists, and other psychologists told her, like, oh, it's because of your childhood that it was not perfect, or it's because of your complex trauma. And I'm listening to her, and I really took my time. I was like, okay, it doesn't explain why she can not do a little action today. She is stuck, okay, because she has lost the way, she lost the motivation and the the direction on it's worthwhile to do something, and it will create anxiety. If you want to do something, every little move, it will create anxiety, if especially if you're not used to it, okay. When you want to break out of your shell, you want to try something, just thinking about it will increase anxiety. And we are in a phase where anxiety, it's kind of the worst thing in the world, and we're not supposed to feel that. It's very dangerous to see it that way, because it's like you doubt yourself as soon as you have anxiety. So the emotion becomes the threat itself. So the threat is not outside, it's a threat that comes from your inner interpretation of discomfort. So people are going around and around and around, and it fuels, as you know very well, victimization. So it's
Yeah.
because of oppressors around yourself. It's because of injustice. It's because of all kinds of external factor. It's because of I didn't have the proper condition. It's because, and it's like, and she was telling me that for the whole hour, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. And I had to take another hour to switch the narrative around, so she can see that this is just anxiety and it's fun, it's normal, you need to push through that. So it feels
I
like it's a
have
bit.
an issue with that. I don't. I'm like you. It makes me seeing everything I've seen and seeing the people that made it out of certain situations. I really do not like when people don't kind of put in the work and they
Yeah,
just assume that it's everything. Like it's all external factors. It's
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah,
It's you whether you could be the best at something or you could be the worst at something. What's going to determine the difference is going to be the work that you put in, because there's a lot of people that are just not good because they don't put in the work.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not an it's not like you said with her where she was going through it and it's all this other. No, you're feeling weird and you're blaming other stuff. You have to focus on the right thing and keep grinding. At the end of the day, if you're good enough and you keep grinding, no one's going to stop you. It's
yeah.
like in comedy, what stops most comics, honestly, is bad attitudes. So
Really, yeah,
yeah, because you get good opportunities. Let's say me with Mike, I got to do all his tours in French and we got
yeah,
to go everywhere. Mike's
yeah,
already said it. It's just Mike can hire whoever he wants, but he hired people that he has fun with, because that's who I want to have with me on the road. That's who I want to have backstage. You could be the best comic, but if you're a piece of garbage, why would I
yeah,
want you in the green room? I'd rather get someone who might not even be as good as you talented.
yeah,
It might be a little under, but still talented, but I don't have to deal with any nonsense.
yeah,
So attitude is a huge, huge thing. And you know what I deal with? I try to get. I don't like negative energy around me. I don't. So what I
yeah,
try to do is try to cut it, which is also bad because sometimes I'll cut people out of my life because
yeah,
I'm like, you know what? It's not bringing me anything good. It's not bringing me
yeah,
anything good, and I try to negotiate with you, and you don't like change. And I don't need this. I don't want this. I'm trying to bring you positivity. And if
yeah,
everything's going to be negative, I'd rather not have that around. And I don't know if that's a good trait necessarily because you at some point, what are you going to do? You're going to cut every single person you know off. I hope not everyone's negative around you, but I just mean it's not a good trait either. What I do, but I know that I do it. I know that I've done it before in the past too, where I'm just like, you know what, easy, cut that off.
mhm.
We're moving.
And we didn't, talk about that a lot. But are you in couple? Do you have kids?
I don't
What's
have kids. I want to have kids. Yeah, I have a girlfriend, but yeah, I want to have kids. Yeah.
and for how long have you been with her?
It's pretty new. This one. It's only been a couple months.
Really, it's
Yeah.
new. Wow. Okay, so when we met, you were with somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, congratulations. I hope it's gonna keep going
I hope
for
it sticks.
for
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, it looks like
Okay.
it's going well. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
And
because I didn't know
even with
if
the
you.
last one, like great, we're still very good, amicable, friends and all that. Like, yeah, I haven't. I think since I was a kid, I haven't really had like a negative, some people break up and it's like they hate the other person, all that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is the person I chose. Like, they're not a bad person. If it doesn't work out for one reason or another, it's not. I'm not gonna fight with you because it didn't work out. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something that you would like to be a father.
Oh, yeah, it's part of the plan. I really want to be a dad. Yeah.
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 because
and I
it
want to
sounds
build a family.
obvious, when we listen to you, like the sense of contribution, mentorship, it's like it's in everything you're saying, like the willingness to contribute to something. As you're saying, you've been betrayed a lot because you want to help a lot, and sometimes you don't think a lot about yourself, but the feeling of the willingness to contribute and give something and improve someone else's life seems absolutely obvious for you.
And
So
this might sound like mumbo jumbo, but I'm telling everyone it's real. I've lived it. Love, actual love, is so powerful. I have a dog. Okay, I
yeah,
adopted this dog. She just turned. Actually, I'm gonna save it for the end of the story. But I got her. She was 7 years old. 7 years
yeah,
old. I adopted her because she was beaten up for 7 years. She was abused. They were
yeah,
kicking her. She had 4 teeth left. She was like this, just shaking all the time. She had heart problems, and she looked like a rat. Like all her hair had fallen out. She looked like a rat.
yeah,
And they explained to me when I went, like she met a lot of people, but she was scared of everyone. And for some reason, she liked us. She really liked me at the time. She was comfortable. And they explained to me that if I don't adopt her, they can't really find her family. They're gonna have to put her down because no one wants. She has heart problems, and I don't know.
yeah,
I felt so bad in my head that she didn't live like a real life. Like
yeah,
she just 7 years of getting beat up and thrown into closets. And I
yeah.
go, I can't let this dog die. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll adopt her. So I adopted a dog. They said you might have a year with her. She has heart problems. She's all screwed up, whatever. The dog just turned 16 last month. Um, full 180. This dog, full, beautiful fur. She's happy. She has hip problems, but she's good. I take care of her. I feed her. I cook for her. She doesn't need dog food anymore. It's all like organic chicken, salmon, none of that dog food. Garden, no McDonald's for my dog. It's all good food. And I gave her so much love, and she has so much. She should be the person because she was only getting beat up for 7 years. She should hate everyone. She shouldn't trust humans.
Yeah.
This dog has so much love in her, trusts people, so much love now, but it took a while. It took 2 years of her being scared and just being patient with her and now completely different dog. She just turned 16 last month. And yeah, I feel great. I feel great that she's living this, and she's a great dog. Yeah.
Well,
But I just think
that's
that was love. You give her love, you give her attention, you take care of her, you actually care about something like a flower, you take care of it.
yeah.
Whole different. And they said she was gonna die in a year, and through everything, she's going strong. You'd think she shouldn't be alive, but she is, and she's living her best life. Yeah. So
Well,
it's very
I
important.
think
Nurture the stuff you like, including your career. Just give it some love.
yeah. Well, I think you're that's why I wanted to talk to you. I think and I didn't even know all these details, but it's just like I felt like you're really an inspiring guy. That gives a lot for yourself to give you a chance to succeed. That your projects grow, but also for others. And I mean, thank you so much for the time that you've taken today. To me, it's really motivating a
It's a
lot for
pleasure.
myself. I'm sure all the other people that's going to watch that, it's gonna help them a lot. So thanks, and congrats for everything you've done and all the courage that it took to get where you are, man. It's very
Congrats to
inspiring.
you. What are you talking about? You're meeting tribes. You're surviving in the wilderness, and you're congratulating me. You're taking your life by your own hands every day, and I'm impressive. No, good job not dying, dude. I'm always worried that I'm gonna get a message. I'm gonna get a Google alert. Guillaume fell off a mountain. Like you gotta be careful.
I don't want to die because I also want children, and
Good.
I'm looking. I'm actually thinking about that a lot because I'm married now. I got married last year,
I know.
and
Congratulations.
thank you. And it's great. I really love the married life. I really like it. It's a lot of fun, and I have found a good partner for me that is
She's
as
with you everywhere,
passionate.
right? She
We're
travels. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
we're 24/7 together all the time for everything. And I'm a little bit independent, and the older I get, the more alone I want to be. I don't want to be with a lot of people, like. And it's actually, I don't know if it's good or not. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I want to be alone. And but because my job is talking to people, and it's fine, because there's a purpose. And and when I'm listening, I'm really focusing. And um and I thought, like, maybe it's gonna be too much that we're gonna be together all the time, but she's not at all. It
You found your
feels like
person.
I found the person, and I'm a little bit like you. I've always been in good relationships before. I'm really thankful for all the relationships. It's just that at this stage of my life, um that's my fit, and I've never, and it's really funny. We were watching a show on Netflix. It's called The Alaskan Bush People. Do you know what it is?
It sounds like it's right up your alley.
But I work late, and we're in Africa, so the time schedule is a little bit fucked, and we like to watch stuff before going to bed. I was like, oh, there's nothing else. Let's look at that. And it's the story of a family that lives in the bush in the Alaska, and they're like 9 children all
I can't
together, and
do
it
that.
was like, what a misery is that? And it got me thinking about, yeah, but they have a family. Like, yeah, what about our family? And yeah, yesterday it got to a very real, like, I think the most real and concrete conversation about, okay, like, kids, when, like, not we want kids, like, when, actually, like, when, what do we do, where we put the baby here, it's a hut. So we got in, like, in 2 a.m. in the morning after watching Alaskan bush people, like, what do we do with a kid right now? And but it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's part of the future challenges. But I've never had this discussion in my life before because
You
it
never even
didn't.
wanted. You never thought about it.
Not really. It was a concept, like, to be a father, to have kids. But I feel like I'm more and more excited to be a father and to build a family with her. So it's a bit scary, but it's exciting, and I'm thinking about, there's so many parents, man. What are so it takes so much courage to say, like, okay, like, this is my kid, I'm gonna raise this person, I'm gonna give them the best opportunity, I'm gonna do the best I can, and I'm gonna give what I can. If I don't have it, I cannot give it, and I
Yeah.
will, fight for that. It's an awesome human enterprise, and
Just I'm gonna
yeah,
risk everything. I'm sacrificing myself to make sure they make it. I kind of love that though, because you have purpose. I like purpose. You need purpose.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
all the people I know that had kids, they always tell me the same thing. It's like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it really pushed me to focus on things, to take something seriously, because I have to
yeah.
fight for somebody else. It's like, that's really good, and I'm inspired by that. So
That's how I feel about my little dog. That's how I love
yeah,
him. I love him.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's exactly, what you've done. You see a potential, and maybe if we give better conditions, this potential will grow. So, and it's part
And
of.
I saw it work. I'm telling you, it works. So everyone who's out there, just take a risk. Just put some love into it, and it'll work. Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much, man.
Thank
I
you so
gotta
much.
go. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for this conversation. It was really
Thank
nice
you
to
for
catch
having
up.
me.
And congrats
And
for everything you do, man. And of course, I'm gonna try to keep up with my own things also. And
yes, and please come back home at some point.
yes, yes, I will. I'm working on it.
Perfect.
All right, take care, man.
Thank
See
you.
you soon.